It is the first weekend of the BP Ultimate Motorsport Championship. We come to you from Central Otago this weekend, and the majestic, it is majestic standing here under the 30-degree sun at the Highlands Motorsport Park. Coming up, the South Island Formula 1600. You just hear them starting up right now. Billy Fraser is on pole, and there are 31 cars in this field, including Andy McElroy, one of three McElroy generations that are quite, well, famous here in South Island racing. But the crazy thing is, Dad's racing today and son Hunter's on the tools. We spoke to them this week.
Formula Ford, in my opinion, has always been the best entry-level category for any young driver to get started in cars, absolutely. He's doing a bit more talking to people in interviews and swinging the spanners, but no, it's been a great help. It's really cool to be in this situation down here.
Fortunately for Dad, the extent of my mechanicking skills is probably doing up the belts, but you know, it's fun to be here. It's funny to see him having a go going around, so not bad for an old fella. And with Formula Ford, this is really where I started driving, and my driving career started, you know, with an old 91 Van Diemen, I think it was, and yeah, you know, cut my teeth. I didn't drive at Highlands, but basically every other track on the South Island I drove at, just going around and learning in a cost-effective way and a correct way, you know, learning how to drive a car on the edge of the mechanical grip is really important. And even now with the cars that I drive that have so much aerodynamic and mechanical grip, I still use techniques that I learned from Formula Ford to this day. So, you know, not only was it able to teach me the correct way to drive a car and learn how to drive a car fast, but by winning in Formula Ford, it's given me so many opportunities to springboard myself into the professional ranks in America. I came very close, but if I was able to win the championship last year in USF, obviously we came really close and had a really tight battle and just lost it at the end, but I would have won $500,000 US in 2 years just from scholarships if I won that championship. And even now still, you know, I'm only in the US because I was able to win myself there. So there's nowhere else in the world that gives these opportunities to young drivers like myself who can really make a career out of purely just being able to win yourself there. Not easy by any stretch, but if you work hard and achieve really good things, you get rewarded.
The road to Indy, there's nothing like it, and you know, if it wasn't for systems like the road to Indy, he would be still on the spanners on my Formula Ford probably.
And he is on a spanners today too, also on commentary. But just if we whip around here, there's a couple of Red Bull boys getting ready for our 4 o'clock start and race one of the 2020 Castrol Toyota Racing Series. There's Liam Lawson, second on the grid, and then Yuki Tsunoda. And behind, they're talking to the man with the yellow sunglasses, of course, the man that runs and owns Highlands Park, of course, the magnificent Tony Quinn. All right, folks, getting ready for race one of the South Island F1600. Here we go, Clint. This will be a race to look forward to.
No question about it, Stephen. It's actually Jonathan Green taking you through the action here at Highlands as the Peacock watch is on. And I'll tell you what we just saw Hunter in action on the spanners. Well, we're putting him to work. We've got a good South Island boy here in Hunter McElroy. He's here for real now because he's going to watch Dad go about his business. And I've also got, because this is a really good story, I've got a young driver making his name from New Zealand, but he's making his name in the USA. And I've got a young driver from the USA making his name, we hope, in New Zealand. He's right here in Spike Colbecker. So let's start with Spike, first of all. Spike, first of all, TRS, let's hear about qualifying. How is it going? You've just gone out in anger. Before we turn to what you were doing, because it's relevant you're here, because you were racing these cars not a year ago. How's TRS going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, we're getting there bit by bit. Qualifying, we improved by 6/10, so I was pretty happy with that. That's good. Yeah, it's good, but there's still a bit to go, and we hope to have a good race, and we start 13th for the race.
Awesome. Now I want to turn to Hunter. I know you've got a big smile on your face because Dad's out there. How's he doing for an old fella?
Well, he usually goes okay, but he's had a bit of a bingle in qualifying, so he's starting dead last and 31st. So should be interesting to see how far he comes up. I think he'll want to be on a move on, so could be a good one to watch. The colourful 97 car, I think, from the back. So see how he goes.
Well, I really do have two experts here today, and I'm delighted to have you both alongside me because, first and foremost, Hunter, what do you have to do to be fast in a Formula Ford?
Well, Formula Ford's got no grip at all, really. There's no burn, there's no mechanical grip. So it's really important that you're not only carrying a lot of momentum, but exit speeds are crucial as well because they also don't have much power. So basically you've just got to wring the car's neck in the best way possible, but being smooth, if that makes sense. So this track's got a lot of fast corners, a lot of places that could bite you. So really important that these guys are pushing it, but if they go out a little bit too much, it'll bite them pretty quick.
So as you can see, it's a massive field, and we've got quite a different group of cars from different eras, and we have different classes therefore because of that. We've also got some great masters who were champions in their time and still love racing these cars. It really is going to be quite a sight to have all of these cars in action. This is actually round 5 of the 7-round championship, 21 races in all, and away we go. Down towards the bus stop for the first stop, and a great start from Robert Toshak in the number 19, brilliantly away as they head down towards, look at that sight, what a sight that is. Never seen so many cars on a racetrack. Somebody hitting the grass for a moment, but into the bus stop and out they go, the leaders, and down towards the forest and the southern loop for the first time. A very fast corner, this second complex, effectively it's flat out, and then back out, back towards the start finish effectively, and into this tight section of S's, everybody jostling for position. And Hunter, pretty clean start.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing to take note of would be Billy Fraser, currently in second. I mean, he's quite fast, probably the benchmark in terms of pace right now, but not leading the race. So it'll be interesting to see what racecraft he has up his sleeve and to see, you know, maybe what he'll do to potentially take the lead.
And Spike, we were talking about the fact that there's different eras of cars out here, but you can see they're pretty evenly matched. I mean, yes, the cars have developed, the shapes have developed, and the technology, suspension-wise, has developed, but how different is, let's say, a 90s version of this compared to, let's say, a newer version?
Well, the advancement, it's insane, but there's not too much of a difference, but later on in the earlier eras of these cars, they have a different tire. So that's a bit different to what the tire they're running right now.
Well, we'll get an indication of who's where and who's coming through the field. We're keeping an eye on McElroy to see if he can come up. Somebody's trying to spin there. We'll keep an eye on that one too, and that is the 85. Sadly, an ex-TRS driver, in fact, ironically. And around he goes, but now the battle at the front. Spike Kohlbecker from St. Louis, Missouri, raced in this championship. How important was it for you and your career? And how much fun was it to race in New Zealand?
First off, it was really fun. The tracks here are great. I really enjoyed it, and it was a big learning curve in my career. And I'm back, and I've learned the tracks, and we can see what we can do this year.
Here's another replay of that spin. Oh, there was a touch there. Two cars coming together. Car number 5 and 85 getting spun around. I thought it was 85 on his own, but instead he has righted it, and I think both cars will be able to continue, but that was our first major incident. But we're back up and running, and at the moment it's the number 86 we're keeping an eye on, of Billy Fraser. Also up there in the 114, Cameron Freeman is the championship leader. We'll keep an eye on him. Car number 14 going through shot now.
So Billy looks like he's, like I said, got a lot of pace right now. So I think the smartest thing for him will be to use that wisely. He knows he has the pace, but here he's having a look actually now.
That was the start, I think.
There we go. He's got it. So
yeah, nicely done.
Over the bridge. See what happens. I mean, now he's defensive, so it's going to be important that he keeps it clean, because if he's not making sure he's focusing on strong exits, he's going to be under attack to get towed back past. So really important for him to just keep his head cool and just let his pace take him away from the field.
Got to keep an eye on Cameron Freeman, number 19. He's the man who's leading the championship. There he is coming through the last corner there, leading this group of 3, just behind the leaders. And 86 is Bailey Patterson in second place. Billy Fraser leading the way at the moment, the pole man. But the group actually spreading out. And I wonder, Hunter, you maybe answer this one. You get used to seeing these guys racing wheel to wheel, but is it easy enough to break away? And how hard is it, once you're broken away, to stay broken?
Well, the best thing is, and I had a lot of experience with this, was if you're off pole and you know you have pace, one thing you can do is get a really good start and a really good first lap and try and break that kind of 1 second buffer. But the beauty of this track is there's not too many straights. It's all, I mean, when there is a straight, there's still turns and kinks in it. So a lot of really fast corners and a lot of driver corners where you can really make a difference. So if Billy is quick enough, which he looks like he is, he should be able to break away quite nicely.
And this is Zach Christensen, third in the championship, battling for 6th at the moment. And this is a good battle, too, between these two. And you can see those tiny, tiny mirrors. How good are those mirrors to use? They look tiny.
All you really see is flashes of colour. So Tim Miles here is having a really good battle. Be interesting to see, you know, if he can use the toe, like I said, and we were just talking about, to actually keep himself in this fight and even get back in front of him.
Tim Miles and your father having some good jocularity, I noticed, in the pit lane this morning, and there's just a great atmosphere with all these guys in the South Island.
Well, yeah, you know, Tim's actually basically an uncle to me, and obviously my dad and him go way back, so now they're, you know, still, even as old men, driving cars pretty fast and having a good time, so, you know, they're having a ball, and as anyone would.
Real quickly, let's let the fans here in the South Island, Hunter, know what you're doing next year, or hoping to do next year. You're on the road to Indy.
Yeah, so last year was my first year competing internationally, obviously in America on the road to Indy, so it was an awesome experience, although it didn't end up with the result in the end. Unfortunately got second, but pushing on this year, hopefully to be on the grid on the next step on the road to Indy.
That was Mark Doran in the 85, and you can see he's pulled out, and I was just doing some sort of recon on him. He did do one of the earlier TRS series, so good to see him still pedaling away. So that's what you're doing. Spike, do you know where you're going after the Toyota Racing Series?
Not really sure, but the team owners that I'm with now, they're really nice people, and they have a team in the U.S., and we might be going there, we might not, but there's many opportunities for me in the future, so we're staying open to any ideas.
Well, if I'm right in calculating, that means you and me could be spending a lot of time together, because I do the commentary for that series, so that's good.
Oh yeah, that would be really good.
That would be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing both these young men here in the States fairly soon, because that's where I do a lot of my racing in terms of commentating as well. But let's get back to what's going on here in the South Island, because Billy Fraser at the moment is laying down the laps with 4 laps to go. But there is a good battle on for second place at the moment. And up to 18th place now, Andy McElroy. So he's done a good job, as the old fella, as he calls him. I wouldn't call him that. He's probably younger than me. But yes, his younger son can say that. But doing well, getting up into the top 20 at least. And the field spreading out. But we've got a good battle for second place. And at the moment, Bailey Patterson and Cameron Freeman, the championship leader, going at it in the closing stages. 3 to go now. And at this stage in the game, the tyres, I suppose, Spike, don't really go off because they last. But does the car change as the race goes on?
Yes, the car can change. It might slide a bit more. The tires might go away just a little bit. They do have their peak time, just like a slick tire would. But they should not be very far off their fastest times.
Yeah, one thing I found interesting about these cars was the fact that because it's not with wings and so on, you kind of do your overtaking on the straights.
Yeah, there's a lot of drafting in these cars, and that's a really big portion of it. And having a good set of aero on the car that you're running in, yeah, it's good racing down the straightaways. Have
you worked out a good few places to overtake?
Yeah, going into turn 1, that would be a really good place, and then out of turn 3, out of the long right-hander into that small S section, that would be a really good place as well.
Well, you're listening to Spike Colbecker, who will be entertaining you in the TRS series coming up. And talking of entertainment, off goes the nose cone, and a nose and a joint, so to speak, here in the South Island Formula Ford. But the battle continues for second place. And in fact, it hasn't slowed him down any, has it?
Yeah, he's still going. He's going for a pass right now, and he's always, you might get it.
Now we can see his feet working, though. We've got a good view of that, and that's cooling his feet down. But that's the championship leader, Freeman, without the nose cone, but he's not giving up by any means, chasing hard down on the 75 of Jack Noble-Adams. And these two going at it as they have done all race long, but with 3 to go and now 2 to go as they cross the line in a moment. A spirited effort, you'd have to say.
Definitely. I mean, at least he's got some nice air conditioning going on right now, Dyson. I mean, he's a great guy. I've spoken to him a lot. I actually did some early racing with him. two or 3 years ago now. So it's good to see him still hard at it, and yeah, he's got a nice little air conditioning modification going on.
How good a racetrack, you've been out here in a Ferrari, I know, how good a racetrack is this? It's over 4 kilometres, it's one of the longest in New Zealand. What do you think?
I think it's awesome, man. I mean, this is really what New Zealand motorsport needs, is a track like this with, you know, modern facilities and just such a fun layout. This is a combination of everything, and like I said, it's fast and flowing, but if you make a little bit of error, it can bite you really quick.
Cameron Freeman and Bailey Patterson biting at each other's heels at the moment in the closing stages of our first Southland Formula 4 Ford race, and this the 5th of 7 rounds. They'll head to Teretonga and finish off at Levels. It's been a long championship already, 21 races in all, so it's a busy season. A lot of preparation, I'm sure, going on, but it's Freeman, Patterson and Zach Christensen all fighting it out for the championship. Jack Noble Adams is also in there, as is Anna Collins, but at the moment Cameron Freedom leading the way after 4 rounds, excuse me, this the 5th, and certainly plenty of entertainment. But Billy Fraser going about his business and doing a really good job at the moment, keeping an eye on where Andy McElroy ends up, because he's certainly fast enough to come through, and I'm sure enjoying every minute of it. He didn't seem too disheartened this morning when I spoke to him about being at the back.
Well, I was speaking to him before, and I said, you should at least get 15th here, mate. Come on. So he's sitting in 16th right now.
There he is.
He's got a lap. I think, you know, it'd be interesting to see if he can do it, but 14 spots, not bad. Good on you, Dad.
You know how to rile the old fella up then, don't you?
I think it goes 2 ways. He knows how to rile me up, so it's funny being on the other end of it, to be perfectly honest. So it's good fun, man. It's really cool to see him out there and having a good crack.
So, Spike, I'm going to put you in the number 19. How are you going to play it? Number 19, he's right here in the middle of this battle fighting for the podium. What would you do to try and make that move?
Probably go in at the end of the straightaway. There's a really good hairpin, and then launch off that into a chicane. You'd probably get him there.
Yep, good idea. And great input from both Spike Colbecker and Hunter McElroy from New Zealand and from the USA, respectively. And great to have them on board. Both have raced these cars. And if you're thinking that you've got a son or a daughter who fancies a go at this, let me tell you, it's a lot of fun, these cars, and it's actually a very inexpensive, comparatively, way to go racing. And as you can see, we've got a multitude of different cars that range from the early 90s all the way through to the modern day of 2018 and 19 cars out there. So it's a real array of different cars, and certainly different experience levels and ages. We've got youngsters out there, and we've got some old-timers that have done this for a long time, and still, that's how popular this is. They still love racing these cars, and we're coming down to the nitty-gritty now. Just a few corners to go until that final lap. McElroy still in the top 16, just ahead of Noel Attlee, and there's the checkered flag, and Fraser takes the win, and what a win it was too, because he was way ahead at the end there of that battle we were watching so closely for the podium. And they all cross the line. There's Freeman just struggling his way over, but Bailey Patterson holding off Cameron Freeman for 3rd place. Jack Noble Adams taking 4th. Dyson Freeman in 5th place. So a really fun race, Spike.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what the officials do with Freeman's front nose.
Yeah.
There could be a penalty there, or it could be washed away. Well, it'll be played out after the race, of course.
All right, let's just confirm those results. Barry Phillips Motors, Billy Fraser with the win over Bailey Patterson for Fowler Homes. Cameron Freeman, the championship leader, in 3rd. Jack Noble Adams in 4th. Dyson Freeman 5th. Zach Christensen 3rd in the championship at 6th in that race. Tim Miles 7th. Ryan Lowe. Simon Spencer Bauer in 9th position. Anna Collins, who was 5th in the championship going into this one, she got a top 10 finish for the Leighton Engineering Avon City Ford. And a beautiful day here, and a nose cone and a joint for the championship leader. They'll pick that up. That's actually right by the Aliens and the Peacock. So there's all sorts of interesting things out at Highlands. Let's have a look at the highlights then. Good start by the 19, a really good start. And as they went to the bus stop, everybody jostling for position. And this lead group of about 5 cars, we had a little bit of a touch. Doran going out in the 85, having been nerfed out of the way. And then a good battle for the podium all the way to the checkered flag. A little bit of oversteer going into the bus stop, but nothing to worry about. Miles having a good day, putting some more miles under the belt. And yes, a little bit of understeer and oversteer and wandering free for Mr. Fraser as he marched on to yet another victory. And you can see how hard they were pushing, very close to the wall as they came across the line there. But it was all Billy Fraser in the end. That's where the nose cone came off, just after the elbow. And in the closing stages, good battles throughout, as is always the way here in South Island Formula Ford, putting on a great show. They'll be back in action again. But at the moment, the man to beat here at Highlands is Billy Fraser, and he takes the checkered flag in style. My thanks to Spike Colbecker.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
And thank you to Hunter McElroy.
No problem. Thank you very much.